Hi guys, I was about to start making a video on Arthashastra and reclaiming Hindu temples, and that's when I noticed that Swara Bhaskar has given an interview on whether she thinks boycotts matter or not, and whether it forces a film to be a flop or not. And I realized that it's an absolute gold mine of beautiful content. And just go through the whole video and see the hilarious things she says, and also listen to my counters.
Well, she's one of the film industry's most outspoken actors, a refreshing change from what we're normally used to seeing in
Yes, it's very refreshing because we are not used to seeing outspoken actors and actresses giving gyan on Diwali holidays and Shivlingas.
This idea that nobody likes Bollywood anymore, nobody's watching Bollywood, it's the beginning of the end of the Bollywood. This is all perception driven. The numbers don't necessarily justify this. This idea that Bollywood films are just not working, it's not true.
Yes, it's just not true. That's why film after film after film is going home without even breaking even with their production budget.
We've had flops in the past, we've had hits also.
Yes, but no one was actively calling for boycotting those films. They were flopping on their own. That's why you cannot compare them with films that are flopping because of a boycott. This is a classic left-wing fallacy. They're logical fallacies and they're statistical fallacies.
This year we've had 3-4 films that run very well.
3-4 films that have run very well. Will she finally mention Kashmir Files then?
Bhul Bhulaiya, Gangubai Kathiawadi, Jug Jug Jio and Ek Villain Returns.
Well, fair enough, but no one was calling for an active boycott of those films, again. And you didn't mention Kashmir Files, Swara. Why is that? Are you invisibilizing them? Invisibilizing means ostracizing someone and pretending someone doesn't exist. What your gang accuses Brahmins of doing to Dalits, but what you do to Pasmandas, and what you just did to Kashmir Files, you ostracize them. So you are saying if a film is not in agreement to your viewpoint, you are going to ostracize that person, even if that person is an artist, or even if their creation is a beautiful piece of art.
They've all done well, but nobody remembers that. People only remember Lal Singh Chaddha, Raksha Bandhan.
Just like you don't remember Kashmir Files.
It's not great, but I don't think it can turn a film into a full flop. There are other reasons why films don't work. We are coming out of COVID, consumption patterns have changed.
Aha, the classic Anurag Kashyap argument. Let me remind you, Swara, since you forget films. RRR, Kartikeya 2, Kashmir Files, and the 4 films you mentioned just now.
Audiences have gotten used to OTT.
To quote the great YouTube channel College Street Kolkata, RRR, Kartikeya 2, Kashmir Files, and the 4 goddamn films you just mentioned 20 seconds ago.
Content consumption has diversified. People are used to a lot of range in terms of content.
Well, firstly, Kartikeya 2, RRR, Kashmir Files, and the 4 films you mentioned. Secondly, are you saying Bollywood doesn't have range? Are you criticizing your own industry? Are you saying you dislike Bollywood? Are you saying you disagree with Bollywood? We don't even have to boycott you. Bollywood will boycott you.
We've had COVID. People are scared to go back into theatres.
RRR, Kartikeya 2, Kashmir Files, the 4 films you mentioned.
So a lot of negative, I think, hysteria that has been generated around Bollywood. A lot of it is lies.
What are the lies, Swara? Please elaborate on that on Twitter. Is Bollywood not Hinduphobic? Is Bollywood not a bastion for commodifying women? When's the last time Bollywood gave a hit without depending on a woman's boobs and cleavage and navel? Other than Udi and Kashmir Files.
I like to say that the Bring Down Bollywood Brigade is actually running a small industry of their own. They're profiting from it.
To paraphrase the great philosopher Arnab Goswami, "Mujhe profits do, mujhe paise do." How are random people tweeting about boycotting Bollywood making money? Or is your knowledge of economics just like all other Marxists?
All these Twitter handles that are basically exist just to bring down Bollywood. It's like an industry.
Oh, it's like an industry. Just like Marxist economists are like economists.
But isn't it essentially very political? It's also to bring down the 3 Khans, the domination of the 3 Khans in Bollywood. Isn't it so much about that?
Yes, and that's exactly it. We dislike Swara Bhaskar Khan, we dislike Akshay Kumar Khan, we dislike Kanika Dhillon Khan. It's full of bigotry.
It is driven by an agenda, for sure.
Okay, why wouldn't it be driven by an agenda? An agenda means a plan, a motive, a reason, a plan of action, a framework. You think, or you want people to boycott things randomly for absolutely no reason. We have a reason to boycott. And okay, I'll need to digress a little. Remember, always, while debating a leftist, always debate their premises and assumptions before debating the argument, because all their arguments are based on absolutely dumbass, hilarious assumptions. So here, the assumption is that there should not be an agenda behind a boycott, or when people call us reactionaries. If you Google the word reactionary, it will tell you it means a right-wing extremist, but it comes from the word react. When someone tries to kill you, you hurt them back or you kill them. That does not mean, if that means reactionary, so be it. Why wouldn't you react to a threat? And the idea of the Marxists are that reactionary is a bad thing, retaliation is a bad thing, and that is a false assumption. And to quote Sanjeev Sanyal in these conditions, you have to tell them, so what? You people's bodies are colonialized from head to toe. It's filled with coloniality. You ape the West in every damn thing, but you don't know basic English grammar. Reactionary comes from the concept of reacting to something. Why wouldn't you react to things, whether it's good or bad?
I think that for the larger part of its 109-year history, Bollywood has been one of the most popular vehicles for Indian secularism.
Okay, wait. So firstly, she's now saying that Bollywood is a great thing. Now Bollywood is not a bastion for commodification of women. Now Bollywood cannot be blamed for not showing women in strong characters, even though she started the interview with such a statement that Bollywood has not shown enough women's friendships or not with enough strong women. Now everything about Bollywood is great. Okay, now the second thing she admits is that Bollywood is the driving force behind this Euronormative and Eurocentric secularism that we know of. And we are all facing the problems of this fake concept of secularism, this fake secularism. We don't need to be taught secularism if you are a Sanatan Dharmi, but we are not going to be taught secularism by Bollywood. And she's admitting that Bollywood is the driving force behind this secularism.
Look at the kind of films we make. We always have given the message that everyone is equal.
Yes, we are looking at the kind of films you make, and that is why we are boycotting you. And secondly, your idea of equality is that a guy with a tilak is always a villain, and any chacha or a priest in a church is always the kindest person on earth.
Look at the credits of Bollywood films. Every regional, religious and linguistic identity of India is always represented there.
Yes. Northeast is absolutely represented all around Bollywood. That's why a Punjabi woman plays the character of a northeastern boxer.
It's an industry that was spearheaded in its early days by the Parsis and the Muslim communities. It's an industry which has popularized, Urdu poetry and easy to digest Sufi concepts.
Oh, great. I did not have this information. I wonder what is the source of all the Hinduphobia forever in Bollywood.
So you have to obviously delegitimize and discredit the most popular vehicle for Indian secularism if you want to discredit Indian secularism, right? That's why Bollywood is being targeted.
What is she doing? It seems like she's giving us more reasons to boycott Bollywood. No, Swara. Eurocentric Christian secularism nahi chalegi.
How do you handle that? Because you are at the receiving end of a lot of online abuses. A lot of women are online, but as a public figure.
Yes, only women face online abuse. And she faced online abuse. Has she even heard of Ankita from Jharkhand?
But the thing is that I think the boycott trends, even if it happens now, everyone knows that it's agenda driven.
Yes, Swara, it means that there is a clear reason behind the agendas. Agenda is not a dirty word. Your Marxist presuppositions are false and wrong.
People don't buy it. And
okay, people don't buy it, and we have argued that case already. But wait, check out what she's going to say in the very next sentence.
Our film it's really a lovely film about friendship. There's not even, it's a very not Swara Bhaskar kind of film.
Not Swara Bhaskar kind of film. What are you trying to tell the audience, that it's not filled with Marxist pieces of shit ideologies? It seems like you think people do buy the boycott narrative then.
It's a film about friendship and...
Oh, it's a film about friendship, so please don't boycott my film. It seems like dar ka mahol hai.
I would only like to tell the boycott people that, why do you want to deny your mothers and sisters and your families a chance to see their own stories on the silver screen?
Oh, Swara, you incoherent, hypocritical, patronizing queen of cringe. Who denies their mothers and daughters of the chance to watch films? How many movie theaters are there in Kashmir, Swara? When did they open? When did they close? Who did that? Secondly, you are the messiah of women's films now. We need to hope and wait and learn from you about how to make and finally we get a chance to see a woman that represents stories of our mothers and daughters from you now in 2022.
This story is really the story of all, I would say South Asian, not just Indian, all South Asian women.
Ah, great. She just gave away the fact that she is just another She gets her information and politics from just the current fad of Marxist ideologies and academics. She refuses to use the word Indian now. This is a new trend that since there was no India before 1947, why call them Indians? Just call all these people Southeast Asian, because global brotherhood, no. Your own house is burning, but you are going to teach spirituality to the whole world and global brotherhood.
And families. So I think that I really don't think there's any need to. There's nothing to boycott really.
Yes, Swara, why would someone boycott your films? They know it's agenda driven. They don't buy that. Well, in conclusion, Swara Bhaskar just became the first person in the history of Bollywood to shit on the quote-unquote boycott Bollywood gang and also ask their forgiveness and asked people not to boycott her film.